Cool.
Harder, better, faster, stronger.
So the process is pretty simple.
In a corner of a mechanics garage in Sydney, architect Alex Symes is constructing an entire house with just 3 tools.
Yeah, the idea is that someone can just use a drill with, there's quite a few different bits that go on it, and a simple hammer and just a wrench, and can put it all together.
It's like IKEA on steroids, really, isn't it?
It is IKEA on steroids. IKEA on structural steroids.
Just like the Swedish giant, the effort is in the engineering. There's one type of screw, one type of bolt, and hey presto, 15 minutes later, it's a wall panel. How many parts would that be?
That's one of the 37 panels.
The genius is when it all comes together.
Well, Pete, this impeccably constructed house is as clever and practical as it is beautiful.
Yeah, look, a breathtaking view and architecture to match.
Alex Symes has already attracted attention for his design skills. This award-winning beach house is one of his more upmarket forays into sustainability. But this is sustainability on a small scale. So small, it fits on a trailer.
Everything comes on the trailer with its flat deck, and it has all its services underneath, so it has all its water tanks, it has all its...
So what do you got under there?
So we have got 2 potable water tanks, we've got 1 grey water tank, so all the wastewater effectively comes to the grey water tank, you add an additive to it, and then effectively that's safe to go onto your garden.
Right, and you've got gas cylinders there?
So we've got the gas cylinders, they're for the cooking, and they're also for hot water heating.
Okay, and batteries?
Batteries, so we've got the batteries at the back, they're linked to the solar PVs that are up at the top there, and that's effectively what runs all your lights and all your GPOs for your computers and things like this.
All right, should we go and have a look inside?
Yeah.
The home isn't just small in a physical sense, it's got a small eco-footprint, thanks to a rainwater tank, solar panels and battery backup. It also means with a little effort, no more utility bills.
So it's still under construction. We've got
halfway through.
We've got a few more days to effectively get it all done. But as you can see from when we were assembling the panel, everything's exposed.
Oh, so this is one of those panels that you built.
You see all the structure that's there. You see all the bolts that fix it off.
Yep.
And I suppose my idea behind exposing the electrical distribution board, where you can see how much sort of power is left in the batteries, is that people can understand how they use energy, how they use water, how they should actually operate with those systems. And I believe by engaging with systems, we can respect resources so much more and create environmental change.
Joanne Jakovic is now working with Alex to create not just individual homes, but whole communities out of them, and is running a crowdfunding campaign to get the ball rolling. So how much are people going to have to pay for this product?
It's $65,000 at the moment for us to build with no margins the first prototype product. Obviously when we scale that we'll be able to reduce the price, but that price includes everything you need for to get your house running. So it's all of your off-the-grid technologies, you know, your trailer that the home sits on, all of the structural systems, all of your white goods, and just everything is included in that price. So you get a fully functional home.
The next piece in the jigsaw is changing the way we look at our vacant land.
In order for it to solve a housing affordability question, we actually need to be able to curate land, big blocks of land, say brownfield sites or other pieces of open land in which we can host these big world communities, which are these pop-up communities where people who want to, say, spend a couple of years saving for their deposit or actually have a more flexible approach to their housing lifestyle can live on site on these curated communities.
Architects like Tim Horton say this is part of a worldwide movement. China is 3D printing homes. WikiHouse lets you download DIY house plans. A worldwide disruption of the housing market is underway.
This is happening. This is happening around the world. WikiHouse chapters occur in every state of Australia, big in the US, big in the UK. Big World Homes in some ways is Australia's answer to this, a homegrown version.
And it's pretty clear what's driving it: rampant housing and construction costs. and Australia's record as having the biggest homes in the world, 89 square metres a pop.
We know that 1 square metre will cost between $4,000 and $6,000 to build. So, if you're wealthy and you can afford lots of those, good luck to you. If you're like me and you can't, it's a question of how do we make the most of what we can afford at the time we can afford it. It also means that what we're doing is we're increasing diversity. And so it means it's easy to get into the market, as it were, and to start to fill in those rungs that have been missing. We're used to the idea of affordable housing. We may be familiar with established market housing. We often don't have too many connections from one to the other. What these guys are starting to do begins to connect the dots. Maybe also as we become the empty nester, the house shrinks to what we really need.
Sell off the bits you don't need.
Sell off the bits you don't need. So it's a more, dare I say it, a more agile model for the housing market.
Back at the garage, Alex Symes and his team are putting the finishing touches on the first big world home. So Alex, you're almost at the finish line. How's it feel?
It feels more like we're just at the starting blocks. Like we're just finished this particular stage, which is doing the prototype and making sure that the proof of concept works. But tomorrow we introduce it to the world and hopefully people get on board and go, yeah, this is a really amazing thing that we think can provide sustainable housing that's affordable for people.
There is a long road ahead. First stop is the Sydney Architecture Festival, which kicks off tomorrow. But further ahead, well, the future seems almost certain to have this in it. After all, we've already got pop-up shops and pop-up restaurants. Why not pop-up communities?
The idea of having this off-grid home that can be driven in, have a pop-up community, drive it somewhere else, have another pop-up community, and also solves an affordability problem is our dream, and we want to share it with everyone.
So toes nice and flat.
Does it? Awesome.